Alright, so today we're going to make one of our family's favorites, a sourdough deep dish pizza Chicago style. So we are from the Chicago area originally, and so deep dish pizza is a big part of our upbringing and background and culture, and so we just love a good deep dish pizza. And our family, several years ago now, started incorporating sourdough into kind of our routine, and we actually have a separate video on how we do a batch monthly sourdough session where we get all of our sourdough cooking or baking done for the month in one day each month. One of the staple things that we make is a sourdough deep dish pizza, and so we had kind of a tradition going of a family pizza night for a while, and eventually we realized we really want to start making a good deep dish pizza out of sourdough. And so we came up with this recipe, and it's just been awesome. We love it. It's like the highlight of our week is to sit down as a family and just dig into this awesome sourdough deep dish pizza together. And so so we're gonna go through that today and I'm gonna show you how to make a sourdough deep dish pizza. And so this recipe, like I said, we do a lot of batch cooking. So this recipe that I'm gonna share is actually for making 4 pizza crusts, so 4 balls of dough. But the recipe is really simple to kind of either cut that in half for 2 crusts or cut it into a quarter for just 1 crust and make whatever amount you want to make, but the recipe will be for 4 crusts, and we're going to share a link to our blog post in the description box below so you can see the full recipe there. But we're going to go ahead and get started with making that pizza. And so what you're going to need for this is you need 12 cups of flour, and so we use a 50-50 blend of einkorn flour and then a Glen wheat. It's like a hard spring wheat flour. You can really use any whole wheat flour, but we like that blend has been really great for us. And so just use whatever is most simple for you, but that's what we use. You're going to need 4 cups of sourdough starter. Then you'll need 2 cups of water or another liquid. Sometimes if we have it, we use whey leftover from the cheese making process. You can also use that. You'll also need a ½ cup of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of honey, and then 2 teaspoons of salt. And then to walk you through the process of making the pizza, so first you're going to take your 12-inch cast iron pan and you're going to preheat that in the oven. Make sure it's good and hot to start. We like to actually put our cooking fat, you'll want to grease the pan, so we use lard a lot in our cooking, but any cooking fat will do. You can put a good dollop of lard or cooking fat on that pan, put it in the oven for at least 5 or 10 minutes to let it really heat up thoroughly, and then take that out. And then what I actually like to do is get that cooking grease all around the rim of the pan. So let that preheat kind of while you are mixing up your ingredients. And so I like to start I get a big bowl for mixing up that much dough. So get your big bowl ready. I start with 8 cups of flour in the bowl, and then I add my starter in, and then I add the rest of the ingredients. So the water, the olive oil, the honey, and the salt. Add that all into the bowl. Mix it up really good, and then once that's mixed together, you're going to add in either a ½ cup or cup of flour at a time and just work that in and mix it in good. We just mix by hand. You can certainly do this with a stand mixer or something like that, but mix it together until generally 12 cups of flour is pretty spot on with what ratios of what you need, but you may need a little less or a little more depending on how much liquid you add in there. And I just get it to a good consistency where it's not like super tacky or sticky to work with. And then once I get it to the right consistency and feel, just take your bowl, plop it onto your cutting board or whatever you're going to knead the dough on, get that nice and spread some flour on, out on the surface, and then just knead that dough for just a couple minutes. And then I just take the ball of dough, cut it into 4 separate, equal sections, and then I do a little bit more kneading on each of those sections. So after I have the balls of dough, I then just coat them in a little bit of olive oil, and that kind of just helps keep it moist and preserve it, and so it's ready to go when you use it. So what we do for kind of saving the other balls of dough then for future pizza nights is we take the remaining 3 and put them in a Ziploc bag and put those in the freezer. And so they'll be ready to go whenever you want. We just take them out the day before, let them thaw in your fridge, and then take them out like the morning of that you're going to have them, and just let them rise a little bit, and then they're ready to go. But as far as then actually baking the pizza crust, so you take your cast iron pan out of the oven that's nice and preheated and greased. Get that grease all around the edges of the pan good. And then you'll take your ball of sourdough. I just plop it right down in the middle of that pan. Just use my palms and my fingers to kind of spread that dough out around. Try and really work it towards the edges of the pan, and kind of create a little bit of an edge kind of going up the side. And then I just kind of go around with my fingers and kind of continue to bring that dough up the side of the pan till you get a nice thick, delicious looking crust around the side of the cast iron pan there, usually about an inch maybe or so high. And then once it's kind of all spread out and looking like it's the shape and everything that you want, take a fork and just poke holes in the bottom of the crust kind of all around to keep your crust from poofing up in the oven and keep it nice and flat. And then you're going to go ahead and pop that in the oven for 4 minutes and 30 seconds at about 450 degrees. So make sure this time you've already preheated your oven to 450, and then go ahead and pop it in for 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Take it out. It will be a nice golden, delicious looking crust, and then go ahead and top it. So our preferred pizza that we make here is we do a layer on the bottom of pesto, and then on top of that we put a nice layer of cheese and then some meat, and then we put a nice layer of tomato sauce right on top of all of it. And then you're gonna, once you have your pizza, you can really make your pizza any way you want. That's what we do. You can add any toppings, anything you want. But once you have all the toppings on your pizza crust, then you're gonna go ahead and pop that back in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at that same temperature, 450. Maybe start at 15, check it, see if it's good, and if it needs a little bit more time, you can put it back in for a few more minutes. And then after that, we usually, because of the sauce on top, we usually take it out, let it sit for a couple minutes to set up. But after that, your pizza is ready to go, and you have a delicious Chicago-style sourdough deep dish pizza ready to go. So this one actually makes 4 crust worth, so this is great for having friends or family over, entertaining, to really wow your friends with some awesome deep dish pizza. You can make a bunch at once, or like we said, you can take the rest and freeze them and save them for another time, and have deep dish weekly pizza nights for the next month set up for your family. And so we love this recipe. We hope you do too. So our family's Saturday night tradition is pizza and ice cream night, and in our opinion, pizza and ice cream pair perfectly together. And so we also made a video where we walked through our homemade ice cream recipe, and it is so delicious. And so we're gonna link to that video next, and we'll see you in that one.